A number of years ago, a friend of mine asked me to come and help him work on a cabin near Gustavus, Alaska, and Gustavus is right at the kind of the gateway to the Glacier Bay National Park. And so there's a number of private properties over there that have cabins and fairly remote community, only has jet service during the summer. But anyway, we were over there working on the cabin, and one afternoon we were taking a break for lunch, and we were sitting out on the deck as we were, eating our lunch, and out of the woods comes three little people and walked out in front of us and sort of stood in a straight line and looked at us for a while, and we didn't do anything. I remember him saying, "Shh, be quiet, let's watch," and so, we didn't say anything, we didn't move, and one of these little guys raises his nose in the air, and they all marched back into the woods, and that was the end of the encounter. But he punches me on the shoulder and he goes, "My gosh, did you see that? Did you see three little people come out of the woods?" And I said, "No." And he says, "Oh my gosh, I saw him. I know I saw him." And he starts pounding me on the shoulder, and I said, okay, I believe you. I saw him, but I wanted to make sure that you saw them. And we weren't making this up. And so, that was kind of our experience. We had an encounter with three little people that came out of the woods, and there weren't any words said. There wasn't any exchange in that. I don't know in Gustavus if there any dwarfs or small people like that, but there is a lot of legends in the native culture about little people and their experiences with them, and it was a very odd thing to have experienced there, but it's possible that these were some of the little people that are talked about in native stories and their oral history. I worked in a project with the state government that led me to a lot of rural communities, and I had an opportunity to speak with a lot of the different Native people, Native Alaskan people, and in many parts of the state, there's stories and legends about little people, and in some places even big people that I've heard from people that live in the region, and all very fascinating about what that is and what happens there. Yeah. There's a number of books written about that. They have stories about it. And it was interesting as I worked in rural communities. There's very few native stories, tribal stories of bears attacking people, which happens quite a lot in the modern day. But there's many stories and legends about little people taking people into the woods, kidnapping them. Some cultures, some villages say that these people live between time. They take on the shape of humans, or they can. Therefore, they're shape-shifting creatures that live between time. That's their explanation for it. And when I heard, several different stories from several different places, it really does make me wonder if that's, if that's possible or what that is. How would you explain that?
Yeah.
So anyway, that's some of my experiences and my story there.
Thank you. Can you describe the what those three little ones look like to you? Like the approximate height and what they were wearing, what their expression was?
Yeah, it was it was kind of like I guess my first thought after the shock of they were like probably 20, I would say 25 yards away from us, something like that. But they were probably around 3 to 4 foot tall. My impression was, oh, those are three leprechauns. The stories that I've heard about Irish guys. I think they wore like what looked like a green wool, jacket and pants kind of thing. My first thought was maybe they work for the Forest Service, but they're pretty short, so I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
But that's what I saw. And people that 3 to 4 foot tall, wearing green outfits. It looked like they, lived or spent a lot of time in the woods.
And what was their hair like?
Didn't really notice it, but kind of, the same, I guess, was my impression of human-like, human hair, little people. They looked like little people.
And how about the coloring of the hair or the skin? Did you get any impressions about that?
Yeah, probably brown hair was the impression that I'm remembering.
Mm-hmm.
Brown and green was kind of the, what they wore in the context of that, and human faces, and no real, I guess, culture or color or distinction or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they were just little people. They weren't like native Alaskan people,
Right.
Or any of the cultures there, but
sure. Well, thank you so
were little
much.
humanoids.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much for sharing your story. I really appreciate it.
Okay. Yep. If you find an answer to what this is or who these guys are, let me know. I'd be curious to hear more.